everybody. My name's Mrs. Laura, and with me I have my daughter Alexis, who is just turned 8 years old and in 3rd grade, and we're super excited to share our Creation Vacation Bible School with you. We love learning Bible stories and exploring them, and one way we found that we really can meditate on our stories is by doing art along with our stories. The Bible says in Psalms 1 verse 2, "But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night." So Alexis, how are some ways that we can meditate in God's Word?
Some things that we can meditate right now are reading the Bible.
Very good, reading the Bible. And if you're too young to read, you can have your parents read the Bible to you. Another way is you can memorize Bible verses. In fact, we have a Bible verse we'd like to share with you. And we like to put them to song because that does seem like that helps you learn. And we also are going to incorporate sign language into our Bible verse song. So our Bible verse song that we're going to do is Genesis 1:1. And now we'll go through I'll go slow because some of the motions are actually a little tricky in sign language. And so we'll also sing it slow today. And by the end of the week, you'll have all the different signs and songs down pat. So to do in, you kind of hold your hand like it's a little box. You kind of just hold it like this. And you're going to take your left hand, take your right hand, and put it inside. So this is in. In. So again, you have a little bit of a little kind of a section here. You're holding it out. In. So in the beginning. So beginning is a little trickier. You hold out your hand, 5 fingers, and you're going to take your pointer finger or your index finger, and it's almost like you are turning a key into the ignition. So you're going to take your finger, I'll turn it a little bit this way, you're going to point it inside your index finger and your middle finger, and you're going to turn it like you're starting the car, the ignition. And this is the word beginning in American Sign Language. So let's review that. We have in the beginning, and then God is you're just going to take your palm like this, but turn it to your forehead and down to your chin. This is God. So in the beginning, God, and then create is almost like you've got dough in your hand.
Like
and you're kind
clay.
Clay or dough, and you're kind of mushing it. So this is create. It's also the word made in sign language.
God made.
That's right. God, when he did, he created. So let's start from the beginning. Ready? In the beginning, God created. And then heaven's a really fancy one. Yep, you're climbing up the stairs. Here's heaven, and you kind of fly it out. And I noticed there's a couple different ways you can do heaven in American Sign Language.
And we'll do it a little slower since you're still learning it a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It's a little tricky, especially when you start singing it, it goes faster. So let's try that again. Ready? Heaven is you're climbing stairs up to heaven, and then you're kind of showing the sky. Heaven. Good. So let's start from the beginning. Ready? In the beginning, God created the heavens, and this is and. You're just kind of like you're pulling a string. And the earth, you have a flat surface here. You take your middle finger and your thumb, and you're just going to wiggle like you're on the earth. The heaven and the earth. So now, don't worry if you don't have all those down, because those are tricky. We're just going to go ahead and sing. And like I said, every day we'll go over it, and you'll learn it by the end of the week. So we'll sing it slow today, okay?
In the beginning.
You ready? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Very good. And like I said, we'll go over that lots and lots.
And then it's the heavens and the earth.
Yeah. So there's also a way to repeat it. Should we show them how you can do the repeating one?
Sure.
All right, let's try that. So there's one way where we can do a repeating song too. So I'll sing it and then Alexis can repeat. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, the heavens and the earth. Very good. So let's go ahead and start on our story. So we're going to do the creation story. Well, yeah, and a puppet show at the end, yeah. We're going to do the creation story, and we're only going to do day 1 and day 2 today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the story, and then we're going to go into doing a watercolor project with the story. So I want you to think about the beautiful world that God created. But you know, it didn't just happen all in one day. It took the whole week, 7 days. In the evening and the morning were the
Which is still a
first day.
short time to create.
It is, yeah, it's a very short day. So let's think of that verse. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But then it goes on to say that the earth didn't have any form. And there was darkness. That's right. All it was darkness. But then God said,
"Let there be light."
And there was light. And that's a very cool thing too, because darkness can be kind of scary. How many of you are afraid of the dark?
Well, I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really scared of the dark anymore.
Yeah, she's getting better. But fear of the dark is a big thing. And I'm wondering are there other fears that people have that they'd like to share? What about you, Alexis? What are some other things that you're fearful of?
I creep out with, like, weird noises. Like that creepy cat meowing.
Oh, yeah, and that was at night, too. Yeah, she heard a cat go meow in the dark. And so that was kind of scary, wasn't it? But one thing we have to remember is that, you know what? We never have to fear. God is always with us. And for those of you who've done a Becca before, the kindergarten verse for a letter F, which I actually did when I was in kindergarten a long, long time ago, and my mom, who was actually Alexis's grandma, put the verse to a song that we wanted to share with you. That's "Fear Thou Not, for I am with thee," and that's in Isaiah 41:10. So to start the song, we have to look really afraid. Ooh. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. In the dark of night, when mom turns out the light, fear not, for I am with thee. And remember, God is always with you, isn't he? Very good. So now we're going to go ahead and do some watercolor painting along with our story about day and night. So I'm going to switch over the camera to the other side. Okay, to show you some of the supplies we have here. So,
I think we have the light on.
yeah, that's okay. So our supplies we have here, oops. This is being, oh, there we go, that's better. We have watercolor paper, but you can use any kind of paper. We have paper towels. We have some crayons, and of course water and paint brushes. And we're going to start our first story of day 1. So now what we did with the watercolor paper is Alexis likes to do a smaller paper. So we actually cut her papers in half. And since we're doing 2 days, we've got 2 papers. And the other thing you can do is you can do it either way. You can either do it, vertical, or you can do it horizontal. So decide which way you want to lay your paper.
I'll just leave it like that.
You want it like that? And you can kind of, decide which way you'd like your paper to go. And I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time getting this. There we go. That's better.
It takes a while to get situated.
It does take a little while to get situated. So we're actually going to start with crayons today in our for our watercolor part of the story. And this is another fun way, again, to meditate on God's Word is by doing art and really thinking about the story. So I'm going to take the black crayon here, and you can divide your paper however you'd like. You can divide it at an angle if you'd like. You can divide it in half. But however you'd like to do it, you just want to do a really thick line with your crayon.
And do not worry if it's not perfectly straight. I'm horrible at perfectly straight lines.
So don't worry. If it's not perfectly straight, like she said, you just do your best. Good. So I'm going to do a nice thick line diagonal. All the way down. In fact, I might need to do... There we go. So you just want to make sure it's extra thick, because the reason why we're using the crayons...
Mine's thick but not dark.
Yep, so you want yours even a little bit thicker and darker, yeah. Because the reason why we want it thick and dark is the crayons will resist, the wax in the crayons resist the watercolor paint.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, so this is a way that we can actually separate the light and the dark without mixing the two together, because as you would know, light and dark are two very different colors. There. So now we've got a pretty good line to separate the light and the dark there, since we're doing it all at one time and not letting them dry. So now, on your dark side, I'm going to make little swirls of dark. Whoops. Because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. So I'm going to kind of make little swirls to represent like the darkness, and that there wasn't really a form to anything. And there was darkness upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So I'm actually going to draw some water within my darkness here. And one thing I really love about that part of the verse where it says the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters is that even in the darkest times, God is always there. He's there moving. So sometimes we might have sad and dark times, but God is always there and He is still moving. So now we have our little black swirls and our dark water. So now we're going to use our black watercolor paint. If you have different size brushes, I would recommend kind of a medium size for this, since we're actually going to be doing a pretty big space that we're painting on. So since we're black on black, it's not going to be a huge resist, but you are still going to notice it. So as you see, you're going to paint kind of over your crayon, but make sure you don't go past that line there. And you're going to paint, and as you see, it kind of still shows the through. Oh yeah, there's Alexis has like a neat little net for her darkness. Nice. So then we're going to just kind of paint through our whole page here. Or I should say just half the page, because we need one side to represent the light and one side to represent the darkness. Because at first there was just the darkness, wasn't there? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But there was no form, there was darkness. There was darkness upon the waters. But the Spirit of God still moved. And that's a really, really neat fact to think about, that God is always with us, no matter what. And I'm wondering, for all of those watching at home, if they have other things that they're fearful of. We'd like to maybe bring those out and share those with each other. If there's things that you're afraid of, maybe it's not the dark. Maybe you're afraid of spiders. Everyone has different fears.
I'm not really afraid of spiders, but they do kind of creep me out. They look weird.
Yeah, some things can be kind of creepy, but maybe not scary necessarily. Or maybe not, may not scare you.
Ooh, cool, nice.
Yeah, isn't that pretty?
Even nicer when it's dry.
Right, so even with the black and black, you can kind of see how it will still resist. So it gives just enough of a look
I'm getting a bunch of black on
that we're going for. And if you want, you can have lines like that, or actually you can actually even add more swirls. If you kind of like to keep the swirl look, you can make more swirls in your picture. And if you have black glitter and sequins, that would make really cool, but we couldn't actually find our black sequins. So we're just leaving ours black.
Like.
Yeah, no, it's good. There's your darkness, huh? But luckily, it didn't say dark. So what you want to do between the black and the yellow color, you want to really make sure you really rinse out your paintbrush, because look at all that black coming out. Because you don't want to mix that in with your yellow.
Otherwise the yellow.
Oh, Gracie said she's scared of snakes. That is something that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like snakes either.
Yeah, snakes can be
One
very...
time when I saw this garter snake, I was maybe about like 5. In our garden, I screamed.
Because that's a very scary thing, isn't it?
Even though garter snakes are actually one of the nicer snakes.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. So now we have our paintbrushes very nice and rinsed off. And how you can test it is if you put it on a paper towel, you can see if they're still black, then you'll want to rinse it a little bit more.
It's good.
But yep, it looks like ours are just all wet. So now we're going to go to the light side. So this is the exciting part of the story. So we know that there was the darkness, that it was void. But now we've got our happy side. So I'm using an orangish reddish crayon. I think it's actually called Scarlet. But you could use yellow crayon. You can use white. You can use any sort of color. Oh, and it looks like Gracie had a black snake in their garden.
Probably
Ooh,
snake.
maybe. No. Well, it depends on where they live.
Black.
Yeah, they have a stripe on them. So there are some scary snakes that are black.
Maybe a poisonous snake.
Could very well be. Oh, and Marlene is afraid of spiders. Yes, those can be scary. But you know what? Spiders, God made spiders to actually eat other bugs. So they're very important to have so that they can eat the other bugs too.
And I am freaked out about bats.
Bats used to kind of scare me a little bit when I was little too. That's true. Very good. So now we're at our light part. So the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said,
"Let there be light."
That's right, let there be light. So now we're going to make the light shine through. And there was light. Look at that beautiful light. So we're actually going to we have these little liquid watercolors that are glittery. Yeah, I kind of forgot about them too. So this is a really pretty color for our light. So, and God said, let there be light. Look how happy the light looks. And when you think about it too, there is no more darkness in heaven. Because who is our light in heaven?
God.
That's right, Jesus is our light in heaven. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. So we're going to keep, and if you want to, you can actually color the whole side with yellow, but I kind of want to keep some rays like this. To me, it looks more like light.
Pretty.
Is that pretty? It looks more like light when you have the different rays like this. Oh, and they don't like, oh, in Arizona, there's a lot of scorpions. Yes, we are actually in Michigan, so we don't have really scorpions. Oh, and the reeds are here too. Reeds, we're talking about our fears and things that we're afraid of. Yeah, scorpions they would probably scare me too, I think. I don't think I'd like those. So let's see. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. So show your thumbs up. So this is the part we're all going to say together. You have a thumbs up. God saw the light. And then you say, and that it was good. And we put our thumbs up.
There's no light in darkness.
Oh, that's okay. Yep, because you can actually wipe it up here. So if you accidentally get a little bit of light in your darkness, you can wipe it up because God did separate the light and the darkness, right? Oh, and Amanda does not like hornets. None of the reeds like the hornets.
I agree.
Yes. Those are definitely not fun to have around, that's for sure. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So that's another thing we're going to say together. Are you ready, Alexis? And the evening and the morning were the first day. Can you show your number one first? Let's say it again. Ready? And the evening and the morning were the first day. Very good. So now we have our light and our dark side. And now we're going to go on to day 2. Since day 2 is a fairly simple one, that's okay. You can keep painting your light because we'll get everybody set up here for day 2. So on day 2, God separated the sky from the waters. So here we have day 1 was a separation of light and dark. And now the water was there, but he created the heavens and the firmament. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to take a white crayon, which is a little tricky. So if you want to use a light blue instead, that would be okay as well. So you can use a light blue. And we're going to just kind of separate our page. I'm going to actually do mine half and half, like right down the middle here. So if you want more water and less sky, or more sky and less water, you can choose to separate yours however you want. Or if you're doing yours this way, then that would also, you can separate it down the middle this way. So depending on how you want your paper, we're going to do ours. I'm going to do mine vertical again, and I'm going to just separate mine exactly down the middle. So I'm going to actually create waves. I'm going to draw waves with my white and more waves. So I'm going to do a lot of different waves with my white down at the bottom of where the water is going to be. Oh, and it looks like the Reeds just did this story yesterday at their church. Isn't that cool? That was a good prep for Vacation Bible School this week. So we've got lots of different waves up here. So you can kind of see just a little bit. You can see my little white crayon chunks here. You can see a little bit how I've drawn the waves all over the water. Now up in the sky, we're going to make some white clouds up in the sky. And again, if you want to use like a gray or a light blue or something like that, where you'll be able to see what you're drawing better, because it is a little tricky to draw with the white crayon on a white paper, but you can kind of see how I have my little clouds there. So I'm curious to know, what does everybody like to do in water? Water is something you can have a lot of fun in. So I'm wondering, what are some things that people like to do in water? And while we're doing that, I'm going to start painting. I think I'm going to start with my sky. I'm going to do a lighter blue with the sky. And I'm going to do a little bit of a darker blue with the water. So, Alexis, I asked everyone about what they like to do in the water. What are some things that you like to play in the water? Can you share that with everybody? Do you like to go swimming?
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
Like at the beach, I like to play at the waves.
Mm-hmm. Playing in the waves at the beach. That's a fun thing to do. So there's a lot of fun things we can do playing in the water. The water is definitely a lot of fun. Ooh, Ellie said she loves, or Eli said that he likes to go swimming. That's definitely one of the top things to do in water for sure. And Marisol likes to splash and swim. And Gracie said diving. Ooh, Gracie must be a good swimmer if she can go diving. Diving's tricky stuff. I actually never quite learned how to dive. I can swim, but I never did quite learn how to dive.
I can kind of dive.
Yeah, that's a very talented swimmer to be able to do that. So I'm going to start with my sky, and I'm going to use kind of the lightest blue that I have. And if you only have one color of blue, you can actually just add extra water to it, and it will be light. So we're going to go over our beautiful sky, and as you can see, I'm going to add a little more water to mine because I want it to be really light.
Water soon.
Yeah, I guess, well, you know what? I think we'll be okay because we're only using blue. So you can also kind of add some water to your page to make your sky extra light. Or if you want a deeper blue, you can do that too. But you can see how the wax will resist the paint and your little clouds will appear. So as we're painting our clouds, I'm going to read to you on the second day. So remember your parts. You guys have some parts that you have to do with us. So you're going to say, and that was good, and you have to put your thumbs up. You ready for that part, Alexis? And then also at the end, you'll say, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So those are your parts in the story. Ooh, pretty water. I like those wave colors. Very nice. So when God said, let there be a firmament. And oops, see, I'm mixing in a little bit of that yellow there. I have to move my paper down a little bit. There we go. So when God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. So here we had all the waters that God had made that were dark. He did lighten them up. But now God said, you know what? We need to separate these waters. And this is also kind of when he created the water cycle, where all of the water will come down from the clouds and then come back up into the clouds. Oh, let's see. Marlene likes to put her feet in the water. That sounds like a lot of fun too, just wading in the water, doesn't it? Putting your feet in the water. And James likes to swim with floaties. That's a good way to do it. And in fact, Alexis used her life, even though she can swim, she used her life jacket in the waves in Lake Michigan.
The waves can carry me easier. And there's like this huge, like this part where like it's to my dad's neck and he's a pretty tall.
Yeah.
And then like there's a sandbar. That's not really a sandbar anymore.
Yeah, but that's true. That's cool. Most large bodies of waters will have that, where they'll have like it'll get deep and then they'll have a sandbar, and they like to go out and walk on that. But yeah, she couldn't touch. So the life jacket kind of helped her float all the way to the sandbar, with Daddy's help, of course, too. Right. And Noah likes to play with boats in the water. That's fun. Like practice, and it's fun to kind of practice what will sink and what will float and do science experiments. Those are really good ideas of playing in the water. So now we have our sky is all done. Now I'm going to use a little bit of a darker color for my water, just to kind of separate it a little bit, and then you'll be able to see my white cap waves pop up. So God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So there's a lot of different kinds of waters, isn't there? So think about your different kinds of waters just here. We have the water that's here.
And the water that's surrounding us.
Yep, and we also have the water that's in the sky, like the moisture and the evaporation and things like that. So lots of different waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
Good.
Yep. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. That's right. And I'm still working on my water here. So here's all my water. You can see my waves are all popping through. But at this time, there were no creatures in the water, were there? There was no land. So the entire earth was just what?
Water.
Exactly. It was only water. So we had water and we had sky. So imagine that. Can you imagine the whole entire earth and only water? And why do you think God started with the water? Why do you think water was so important to have on the earth?
Because he could create the fish.
But he had to have water to put them in. And what do all living creatures need?
Water.
Exactly. They have to have water. You're right. All right, very nice. So in the evening and the morning were the second day. So now we've got our day 1 and day 2. Here we are, our day and night, and our heavens and our water, all ready to go. Well, we have a few extra little friends here that are coming to visit with us today. So let's see if we can get this set up here so we can see our new friends that are visiting. Whoops. All right. Are we ready, little friends? I think our first little friend's name is it Maddie Mouse coming? All right, let's see Maddie Mouse. All right, there's Maddie Mouse. Oh, I'm sorry, not Maddie Mouse, Maddie Monkey. I'm getting my animals confused.
We have a...
So can everybody say hi, Maddie Monkey?
Hi, Maddie Monkey.
I think she has a song she's going to share with us.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heavens and
want to share with you, Rough Rhino. This is my dear friend Maddie Monkey, and I love her. And this is my friend Millie Mouse, and they love the story too. Yeah, we did.
What did God create on day 1?
Let me think. Oh, do you remember? Oh, what was it?
Light and darkness.
Oh, that's right. God created light, and He separated it from the darkness. That was my favorite. I love light. Light is just my favorite. Me too. Me 3.
What did God create on day 2?
Day 2. Let me think. It was another separation, I remember. What was day? Oh, I know. God separated the waters with the sky, and I love the sky and the waters, and they're all blue, and they're my favorite, and I love them, and I love them, and I love them. Me too. Me 3.
Well, that is good. Didn't you say that what was your favorite?
Well, I guess I have both favorites. I love the light, and I love the sky, and I love the water. They're all my favorites. Me too. Me 3. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you back tomorrow at 11 a.m. for day number 3.